What's up, guys? General Gorilla here. Bringing you guys a Frog Monarch deck profile today. This took second place in my locals. My locals uses the old upper deck system of ranking, so I ended up going 7-4. But in terms of matches, I went 3-1. And there was no top cut just because the upper deck system didn't use one or something like that. Anywho, I'll be getting into the main deck, spells and monsters, no traps, and my extra deck and my side deck, which is here off to the side. Start with the monsters first. I ran Triple Swap Frog. This guy is like a one-man toolbox. He's so incredibly broken whenever you open up with him and another frog. You just dump it, dump something else to graveyard, you special it. It's almost self-explanatory. 3 Dupe Frog. This guy's a searcher when it's destroyed and sent from the field to the graveyard. 2000 defense, it's a pretty big wall. It also has good synergy with Swap Frog and the Ronintoadins. Ronintoadin's effect, you banish a frog from your graveyard, you special summon him to your side of the field. He's very good for getting tribute fodder out there, and also just really good for like spamming Gachi Gantetsu. I main decked 2 Flip-Flop Frog. You notice at the beginning of the video I said this was a Frog Monarch deck and not a Lancer Monarch deck. When I started considering running frogs, I was like, ooh, Lancer, I should try that out. But I found that it was very inconsistent, and the 2300 attack of Lancer really didn't do much for me, and it was just a dead draw. 90% of the time I found that I would rather summon a Monarch or like Dark Dust Spirit or some of the other boss monsters that I'll get into in a second. Flip-Flop Frog is very good because it's a frog target, and it's also like, it's a Penguin Soldier-like effect, or Hane, or whatever you want to compare it to. When it's flipped face up, you can send one monster your opponent controls, or any number of monsters your opponent controls, back to the hand, equal to the number of frog monsters that you control. So, when you flip face up, it's just like, you know, it takes care of something your opponent controls, and then once per turn you can flip them back down. So it's really, really good. Deals with Xyz very well, as other things like fusion and synchro monsters. I main deck 1 Treeborn Frog. This is a personal choice. I know a lot of people like to run 2 or even 3. The way I look at it, you run Swap Frog, you know, I'm main decking other monsters that have the ability to do stuff to my opponent. So, and I also have other outlets to get my Monarchs out. So, only main deck 1 Treeborn, and I haven't really found it to been a problem yet. Main decked 1 Dark Dust Spirit, 2 Raiza, and 1 Caius. This is it for my Monarchs, and I consider Dark Dust Spirit a Monarch just because it's almost the same thing. I like Raiza a lot better than Caius, but I felt like I needed to have another 1 tribute monster in the deck, so I decided to main deck a Caius. Most of these guys are self-explanatory. Raiza is an amazing spot removal monster, and then, you know, you set your opponent back a turn, depending on what you top deck. And, you know, Dark Dust Spirit's just a dark hole, which is amazing. I main deck 2 Light and Darkness Dragon. This guy is just, he is absolutely, unconditionally broken. When this guy hits the field, if your opponent does not Solemn Warning or negate the summon of him, it's just like game from there. He is a great minuser. He just like levels all of your opponent's card advantage. Negates up until he gets to 800 attack, and then from there you pretty much got the game in the bag. 2 Tour Guide from the Underworld, and the Sangan to go along with it. It's really self-explanatory. Tour Guide's just straight up good. I main decked 1 Thunder King today. Like I could have gone 2, and I think it would have been just fine. Like this guy actually never was able to stick the field today. Like I swear, every single time I summoned it, it just got Solemn Warning to bottomless. But overall, I thought it was a good main deck choice. I would definitely continue to main deck him. 1 Gorz and 2 Tragoedia to round out the monster lineup. Hand traps are good, and because I'm not running any traps, I need all the help I can get. So, you'll notice I chose not to main deck stuff like Sea Lancer, Max C, Effect Veiler. I actually have 2 Effect Veilers in my side deck. I do not own Max C at the moment, so I can't really afford to main deck that. It's something I would look into in the future when Max C does become available, but for right now, 2 Trag and Gorz, and the rest of the spells that I ran proved to be just enough like power to interrupt my opponent's plays. And a lot of the time when you play this deck, you end up just responding to your opponent's plays on your own turn, econing their monsters and other stuff that I'll get into. So I ran triple econ, This card is so good in Frog Monarchs. The synergy with Treeborn Frog is you special summon Treeborn, activate an enemy controller during your standby phase, take one of their monsters, and Treeborn comes right back because it's still standby phase. It's a really good play, been around for a long time, and it doesn't get any better than that. 2 creature swaps in the main deck. This card is so good right now. It's really always been good, but when you run a lot of small monsters that really do you no good without doing something else with other plays that you have, just normal summoning like a Ronintoadin and creature swapping it to your opponent is so good. That card put in a lot of work today. 2 Soul Exchange in the main deck. I was running 1 up until last night when I decided to run the deck and found out I didn't actually have my what's it called? Treacherous Trap Hole. So I would definitely, after the results of today, I would take this out and replace it with the Treacherous, but overall it still did very good. I was able to use it to get rid of some of my opponent's monsters and summon a monster of my own today, so that was good. 3 MSTs. You really hate back row in Frog Monarchs because you got to get your normal summons of your monarchs to go off, among other things, so MST is good. And finally, the 1-ofs. Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Book of Moon, and 1 main deck Salvage. I feel like 2 Salvage is too much, and it's still really good in Monarchs, but I just didn't feel like running 2. It's still very good though. Onto the extra deck. Now, bear in mind this is incomplete. I didn't actually get a chance to pick up the Daigusto Phoenixes that I wanted to, and you do really need it for this deck. So keep that in mind. Some of the stuff you'll see in here, like I can't even summon at all. So, yeah. Anyway, 3 Gachi Gantetsus. 3 is definitely enough. 2 is too little because you will have those games where you're able to put out 3. So, the ones that go into the grind game, you definitely do need 2 Gachis. 1 Leviathan Dragon because it's a really good rank 3. My bad. The other rank 2 I ran was Shining Elf. This guy really isn't that great, but sometimes you can put it out and it'll do you some good because it's a rank 2. I never made it today, but So Leviathan Dragon, Giga-Brilliant, it's pretty good. 2 Zenmaines. Some of the rank 3s that I have in my main deck right now are kind of left over from my Wind-up extra deck, so some of this stuff doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but 1 Temtempo, 1 Acid Golem, Papilloperative, Maestroke, Gaia Dragon, Stardust, and Chimeratech. The primary reasoning behind, well, I can't really make level 4s, so disregard these guys. But the primary reasoning behind Gaia Dragon is that if I ever creature swap my opponent's level, or rank 5 or 6, or 6 or 7, no, 5 or 6 Xyz monster, I can just overlay into Gaia Dragon and they won't get it back. So it's pretty good. Stardust Dragon, I don't really know why that's in there. And then Chimeratech because I do side deck 2 Cyber Dragons. So that's pretty good. Overall, there's probably like 5 or 6 cards in here that could be taken out because I can't make them. These 2 here would probably become Daigusto Phoenixes, so if you're thinking about building the deck, keep that in mind. Side deck now, 2 Effect Veiler, 1 Thunder King, 2 Snowman Eater, DD Crow, spread this out real quick, DD Crow, 2 DD Crow, push this stuff up, 2 the End of Anubis, 2 Cyber Dragons, 2 Needle Sealing, and lastly 2 Malevolent Catastrophe. I run so many main deck spells that I really didn't feel the need to side any other kind of spells in. Primary reasoning here for certain matchups is Effect Veiler against a lot of stuff in the metagame, 1 Thunder King because it's good against heroes, 6 Ams, other things like that, Snowman Eater because it's good against so much stuff, and plus it's a target for discarding to special summon Swap Frog if I side it in. So 2 DD Crow, Plants, Dark World, and also the End of Anubis are also for Dark World. I didn't end up facing any today, but normally there are consistent players at my locals that run Dark World, so this is a good idea because it's a level 6 and I can just sack off anything to special summon it, so that's good. 2 Cyber Dragon. It has a lot of synergy in my deck, like naturally, so I could main deck them, but I chose not to. You just special summon it, and if you're not contact fusing it for a Chimeratech, you're using it to special summon a Monarch or something like that, so it's really good there. 2 Needle Sealing. I didn't end up facing any windups today. I did side this in against Giga, round 2, and I didn't actually get to activate it, but I drew into it once. I think he might have ended up hitting it with like a blind MST or something, but and then 2 Malevolent Catastrophe. This is really good against anything that runs a lot of back row, like Heroes, Giga. Yeah, the one match that I had today against Giga, I sided in. What did I side in? 2 Snowman Eater, 2 Sidra, 2 Needle Sealing, 2 Malevolent. It actually helped me take game 2. I didn't end up winning the match. I went 1-2, but I think he ended up hitting one of my Needle Sealings with a blind MST game 2, and he ended up destroying my Malevolent Catastrophe before I could hit his 4 back row with it, game 3. So that was a little disappointing, but overall it's still a really good card for that particular matchup. Lastly, I guess I'll just go over with you guys the summary of the games that I played. 4 rounds. I played round 1 against Agents, 2-1. Round 2 against Giga, 1-2. Round 3, 2-0 against Chainburn. And round 4, 2-1 against a kind of interesting Hero Noble Knight hybrid deck. That was kind of good. I ended up losing game 2 because of a pretty bad misplay, but I still was able to take the match. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned a little bit more about Frog Monarchs. I would definitely recommend this deck to anyone who's looking for a budget build this format. It's very powerful, and in the hands of a skilled player it can do a lot of work. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll catch you later.